Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, many people believe that blessings mean an easy life, but today I want to share a deeper understanding. When God blesses you, you will see these four signs, not always in your surroundings, but first within yourself. We often grow up thinking that a blessed life is a life without problems, without pain, and without delays. We think that if God is truly with us, everything should work out smoothly. But reality teaches us something very different. Some of the most blessed people have walked through the hardest paths. They have faced rejection, failure, loss, and uncertainty. Yet what sets them apart is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of God's hand guiding them through it. When God blesses you, He does not promise a life without storms. He promises strength to stand firm in the middle of them. The first sign that God is blessing you is strength during difficult times. Not physical strength alone, but inner strength. A strength that keeps you moving forward even when life becomes heavy. You may be facing situations that you never imagined for yourself. You may feel tired, confused, or even broken at times, yet somehow you continue. You wake up every morning and try again. That strength is not accidental. It is a sign that God is working in your life. When God blesses you, He gives you the ability to survive what was meant to stop you. This strength does not mean you never feel weak. In fact, there are moments when you feel like giving up. But even in those moments, something inside you whispers, keep going. You learn patience when answers are delayed. You learn faith when outcomes are uncertain. You learn humility when you realize you cannot do everything on your own. This strength shapes your character and prepares you for responsibilities you could never handle before. Sometimes God allows pressure not to crush you, but to shape you into something stronger. The second sign that God is blessing you is a change in your desires. This is one of the most powerful yet quiet signs of blessing. When God begins to work in your life, your heart starts to change. Things that once excited you may no longer satisfy you. Things that once seemed important may begin to feel empty. You start to desire peace more than attention, growth more than comfort, and purpose more than popularity. This change does not happen overnight, but it is clear your priorities shift. When God blesses you, He does not just change your situation, He changes your heart. You begin to make better choices, not because you are forced to, but because you want to. You become more careful about who you listen to, where you go, and what you allow into your life. You start to understand that not everything that looks good is good for you. This wisdom is a blessing. It protects you from paths that would have led to regret and pulls you closer to the life God designed for you. This change in desire also affects how you see success. Success is no longer just about money, status, or applause. It becomes about living with meaning, staying true to your values, and becoming a better human being. You begin to ask deeper questions about your life and your purpose. And this inner transformation is a clear sign that God is guiding you towards something greater than temporary satisfaction. The third sign that God is blessing you is growth in your character. The world celebrates achievements, but God focuses on character. When God blesses you, He works on who you are becoming, not just on what you are achieving. You may notice that you are becoming more patient, more forgiving, and more understanding. Situations that once triggered anger may now bring calm. People who once hurt you no longer control your emotions the way they used to. This growth often happens silently. No one may applaud you for choosing honesty when lying would be easier. No one may notice when you remain kind in an unkind situation. But God sees it. Character is built in moments when no one is watching. When God blesses you, He teaches you discipline, responsibility, and integrity. He prepares you to handle future success without losing yourself. As your character grows, you also develop a sense of responsibility toward others. You realize that blessings are not meant to stop with you. They are meant to flow through you. You become more compassionate, more aware of others' struggles, and more willing to help. You understand that your life has influence whether you realize it or not. This awareness is a blessing because it turns you into a source of light and hope for others. The fourth sign that God is blessing you is peace, even when life is uncertain. This peace is not the absence of problems, it is calm in the middle of them. When God blesses you, He gives you a peace that does not depend on circumstances. You may still be waiting for answers. You may still be working toward your goals. You may still face challenges, but deep inside there is a sense of trust that everything will be okay. This peace allows you to rest without having everything figured out. It helps you move forward without fear controlling your decisions. It gives you confidence that delays are not denials and that silence does not mean abandonment. This peace is a sign that you are not walking alone. It reminds you that God's timing is perfect, even when it does not match your own. People around you may notice this peace. They may wonder how you remain calm while others panic, how you stay hopeful while others give up. And through your peace, God's presence becomes visible. This peace becomes your testimony. It speaks louder than words and stronger than explanations. When we look at these four signs together, we begin to understand what true blessing really means. Strength in hard times, transformed desires, growing character, and unshakable peace are not small things. They are powerful signs of God's work in a person's life. A blessed life is not always an easy life, but it is a meaningful one. It is a life where every season, whether joyful or difficult, has purpose. Sometimes we expect God's blessings to arrive immediately and clearly, but often they come quietly, shaping us day by day. Many times we only realize how blessed we are when we look back and see how far we have come. We see the doors that were closed for our protection and the lessons that prepared us for the future. God's blessings are not always about giving more. Sometimes they are about making us better. So today, if you are going through a difficult season, do not assume that God has forgotten you. Look deeper. You may already be seeing the signs of His blessing in your strength, in your changing heart, in your growing character, and in your peace. When God blesses you, these four signs will appear, guiding you, shaping you, and leading you toward a life filled with purpose, faith, and hope. Many people grow up believing that blessings mean a life without problems, pain, or pressure. We often assume that if God is truly pleased with us, everything around us should fall perfectly into place. When difficulties arise, we begin to question ourselves and even question God. We wonder why challenges exist if we are trying to live rightly and do what is good. However, this understanding of blessings is incomplete. Blessings do not mean a problem-free life. God's blessings are not proven by comfort or ease, but by purpose, growth, and endurance during challenges. Life itself is full of ups and downs, and no one is exempt from hardship. Being blessed does not remove a person from this reality. Instead, blessings change how a person walks through difficulties. A problem-free life may sound attractive, but it often leads to weakness, dependency on comfort, and fear of change. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. It is during times of struggle that people discover their true strength, values, and faith. When God allows challenges, it is not to harm us, but to develop us. What feels like pressure is often preparation. God's blessings are closely connected to purpose. Many times, the purpose God has for a person is far greater than what they currently understand. That purpose requires strength, wisdom, patience, and maturity. These qualities are not developed in easy seasons. They are formed when a person is tested, when plans fail, when doors close, and when waiting becomes painful. In those moments, a blessed person does not simply survive. They learn, they begin to understand themselves better. They learn to rely on God rather than on their own abilities. Purpose becomes clearer when comfort is removed, because distraction is reduced and focus is sharpened. Endurance is another powerful sign of blessing. Anyone can be happy when life is smooth, but it takes inner strength to keep going when life becomes heavy. Endurance does not mean pretending everything is fine. It means choosing not to give up even when the heart feels tired. It means continuing to hope when answers are delayed and continuing to do what is right when results are not visible. This endurance is not something people create on their own. It is a gift that grows when God is present in a person's life. The ability to stand after being knocked down again and again is evidence of divine support. Challenges also reveal growth. Without difficulties, growth would remain shallow. A person who has never struggled may have confidence, but not depth. They may have knowledge, but not wisdom. When challenges come, they stretch a person emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. They expose weaknesses, but they also strengthen abilities. Over time, the person who endures challenges with faith becomes wiser, calmer, and more balanced. They learn patience instead of anger, humility instead of pride, and trust instead of fear. This kind of growth is far more valuable than temporary comfort. Many people measure blessings by external signs such as success, money, or recognition. While these things can be gifts, they are not the true proof of blessing. Comfort can be misleading. A life without challenges may look peaceful, but it may lack direction. On the other hand, a life filled with struggles but guided by purpose has meaning. God's blessings often protect us from becoming too attached to comfort because comfort can make people forget their dependence on Him. Struggles remind us that we are not in control of everything, and that reminder keeps our hearts grounded. It is also important to understand that problems are not punishments. Many people assume that hardship means they have done something wrong. This belief creates guilt and fear. In reality, challenges are often signs that God is shaping a person for something greater. Just as gold is refined through fire, character is refined through difficulty. The process may be uncomfortable, but the result is valuable. What feels like delay may actually be development. What feels like loss may be protection. A blessed person may cry, may feel tired, and may question at times, but they do not lose direction. Even in pain, there is learning. Even in waiting, there is preparation. Over time, when they look back, they realize that the hardest seasons taught them the most important lessons. They recognize that the strength they now have was built during moments they once wanted to escape. This realization changes their perspective. They stop asking why challenges exist and start asking what they are meant to learn from them. A problem-free life is not the goal. A purposeful life is God's blessings are not about removing every obstacle, but about giving the strength to overcome them. They are not about avoiding pain, but about growing through it. Comfort may bring temporary happiness, but purpose brings lasting fulfillment. Growth may be slow and sometimes painful, but it builds a foundation that cannot easily be shaken. Endurance may be tested again and again, but it proves that a person is not walking alone. This is why blessings do not mean an easy life. They mean a meaningful one. Strength in difficult seasons is one of the clearest signs of blessing, even though it is often misunderstood. Many people think strength means never feeling weak, never crying, or never struggling emotionally. In reality, true strength appears when life becomes heavy and a person still chooses to stand. When you are able to move forward, even slowly, and refuse to give up despite hardship, it shows that God is sustaining you in ways that may not be visible on the surface. Difficult seasons test every part of a person's life. They test patience, faith, emotions, and hope. These are the moments when plans fall apart, expectations are not met, and answers do not come easily. Anyone can feel confident when life is smooth, but strength is revealed when nothing seems to be working, and yet the heart refuses to quit. If you are still standing in a season that should have broken you, that strength is not accidental. It is a sign that God is carrying you when your own strength is not enough. This kind of strength does not mean you are fearless or unaffected by pain. It means you feel the pain, but you do not allow it to define or destroy you. You may feel tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed, yet something inside you keeps pushing you forward. That inner push is often quiet. It does not shout. It whispers, "Try again tomorrow." It reminds you to take one step at a time. This quiet persistence is a powerful form of strength, and it reflects God's sustaining presence in your life. Standing firm during hardship requires faith, even when faith feels small. Sometimes strength is simply choosing to get up in the morning when you would rather stay down. Sometimes it is choosing hope when disappointment feels safer. These choices may seem small, but they build resilience over time. God often strengthens people gradually, not instantly. He gives just enough strength for today, not the entire journey at once. This teaches dependence and trust. It reminds a person that they are not meant to walk alone. Moving forward in difficult seasons also shows maturity. It means you are learning not to let circumstances control your direction. Hardship has a way of tempting people to stop, to settle, or to give up on their dreams and values. Strength resists that temptation. It says that this season will not define the rest of life. It believes that growth is still possible, even here. This mindset is a blessing because it protects a person from becoming bitter or hopeless. There is also strength in choosing the right attitude during hardship. Two people can face the same struggle yet respond very differently. One may grow angry and resentful while the other grows wiser and more patient. The difference is not the situation, but the strength within. When God sustains you, he helps you respond with grace instead of bitterness, with patience instead of anger. This does not mean emotions disappear, but it means emotions no longer control your actions. Not giving up is perhaps the strongest evidence of blessing. Giving up often feels easier than continuing, especially when progress is slow. But endurance builds character. Every time you choose not to quit, you grow stronger, even if you do not feel it immediately. Over time, you begin to realize that the strength you gained in hard seasons becomes a foundation for future challenges. What once felt impossible becomes manageable. This is how God prepares people for greater responsibilities and opportunities. Strength in hardship also increases compassion. People who have struggled and endured often become more understanding toward others. They listen more, judge less, and help more sincerely. This compassion is a blessing not only to them, but to everyone around them. God uses difficult seasons to soften hearts and deepen empathy. In this way, personal strength becomes a source of strength for others as well. Looking back, many people realize that their hardest seasons were also their most meaningful. They may not have chosen those moments, but they learned the most from them. They discovered abilities they did not know they had. They learned how to pray differently, how to trust more deeply, and how to remain calm in uncertainty. None of this would have happened in an easy life. Strength in difficult seasons is not about proving how strong you are. It is about revealing how faithful God is. When you are still standing, still moving forward, and still hoping despite hardship, it is clear evidence that you are being sustained by something greater than yourself. This is why strength during difficulty is a true sign of blessing. It shows that even when life is hard, you are not alone, and you are not unsupported. A transformation in desires is one of the most meaningful signs of God's work within a person. Unlike external changes that people can easily see, this transformation happens quietly, deep in the heart and mind. It is not forced, and it is not sudden. Over time, a person begins to notice that the things they once chased no longer satisfy them in the same way. What once felt exciting may begin to feel empty, and what once seemed unimportant may start to feel essential. This shift is a clear sign of blessing because it shows that God is shaping the inner life, not just the outer circumstances. In the beginning, many desires are driven by temporary pleasure. People seek approval, attention, comfort, or success because these things promise happiness. While there is nothing wrong with enjoying life, temporary pleasures cannot sustain the soul. They fade quickly and often leave a sense of emptiness behind. When God begins to work within a person, he gently redirects these desires. The heart starts to seek peace instead of constant excitement, purpose instead of popularity, and righteousness instead of convenience. This redirection is not a loss, it is a gain. One of the first changes a person may notice is a growing desire for inner peace. Situations that once fueled drama or chaos may now feel draining. The person begins to value calm, balance, and clarity. They may start avoiding environments or habits that disturb their peace, even if those things once felt enjoyable. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. Peace becomes more valuable than noise, and stability becomes more important than excitement. This shift reflects God's presence because true peace cannot be manufactured by circumstances alone. Along with peace comes a deeper sense of purpose. A transformed desire moves beyond living only for oneself. A person begins to ask meaningful questions about their life, their choices, and their impact on others. Success is no longer defined only by personal gain, but by contribution and integrity. There is a growing awareness that life has meaning beyond pleasure and comfort. This sense of purpose motivates better decisions, stronger discipline, and a clearer direction. It also brings fulfillment because living with purpose gives meaning even to ordinary moments. Righteousness also becomes a priority as desires change. Righteousness does not mean perfection. It means a sincere desire to do what is right. A person begins to feel uncomfortable with dishonesty, harmful behavior, or choices that compromise their values. Even when no one is watching, there is an inner guide that encourages integrity. This internal compass is a sign of God's work. When righteousness becomes desirable rather than burdensome, it shows that the heart is being transformed. This transformation affects decision-making in powerful ways. The person becomes more thoughtful and less impulsive. Instead of asking what feels good in the moment, they begin to ask what is beneficial in the long term. They learn to walk away from situations that may look attractive but lead to regret. This ability to choose wisely is a blessing because it protects the person from unnecessary pain and keeps them aligned with their values. A change in desires also brings freedom. When a person is no longer controlled by temporary pleasures or external approval, they experience a new level of peace. They are less anxious about what others think and less pressured to meet unrealistic expectations. Their confidence comes from within, rooted in faith and purpose rather than comparison. This freedom allows them to live authentically and with gratitude. Over time, this inner transformation becomes visible in actions, relationships, and lifestyle. People around may notice increased patience, kindness, and self-control. These qualities are not learned overnight. They are developed as desires change. God's work within a person always produces fruit outwardly. The life begins to reflect the values that the heart now holds. A transformation in desires is not always dramatic, but it is deeply powerful. It shows that God is actively shaping the heart, guiding priorities, and leading the person toward a life of peace, purpose, and righteousness. This kind of blessing lasts far longer than temporary pleasure. It builds a life that is meaningful, grounded, and aligned with what truly matters. Character growth matters more than outward success because success without character is unstable and short-lived. Many people spend their lives chasing achievements, recognition, and status, believing that these things define a successful life. While outward success can open doors, it cannot sustain a person who lacks inner strength. When God blesses someone, He focuses first on shaping who they are, not just what they accomplish. Patience, integrity, humility, and compassion are qualities that prepare a person to carry success without being destroyed by it. Outward success is visible and often celebrated, but character is developed quietly. No applause follows a patient response to frustration. No reward is given immediately for choosing honesty when dishonesty would be easier. Yet these unseen choices are where real growth happens. God understands that a person's character will determine how they handle pressure, influence, and responsibility. Without strong character, success can lead to pride, misuse of power, or loss of purpose. This is why God often works on the inside long before changing the outside. Patience is one of the first qualities God develops. In a fast-paced world that demands instant results, patience feels difficult and sometimes unnecessary. However, patience teaches self-control and trust. It allows a person to wait without becoming bitter or reckless. Through delays and unanswered questions, God trains the heart to remain steady. This patience becomes essential when greater responsibility arrives, because leadership and success often require waiting, endurance, and long-term vision. Integrity is another key part of character growth. Integrity means doing the right thing even when no one is watching and when there is no immediate benefit. It builds trust, which is far more valuable than talent or intelligence. God blesses by strengthening integrity because He knows that opportunities and influence will test honesty. A person with integrity remains consistent in values regardless of circumstances. This consistency creates respect and reliability, qualities that are necessary for lasting success. Humility is also central to character. Humility does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means understanding your true place and recognizing your dependence on God. When a person grows in humility, they become teachable. They listen more and assume less. They accept correction without becoming defensive. God blesses humility because it keeps success from turning into arrogance. A humble person can grow, learn, and lead without losing their humanity. Compassion completes the foundation of strong character. As God shapes a person, he softens their heart toward others. Compassion allows a person to see beyond their own struggles and understand the pain of those around them. It transforms success from self-focused achievement into an opportunity to serve. God blesses compassion because it ensures that influence is used to uplift, not to dominate. A compassionate heart brings healing, encouragement, and unity wherever it goes. Character growth often happens through challenges. Difficult situations reveal weaknesses, but they also provide opportunities to grow. When a person chooses patience in frustration, integrity in temptation, humility in achievement, and compassion in conflict, their character deepens. These moments may not feel like blessings at the time, but they are shaping something far more valuable than temporary success. Over time, character becomes a foundation that supports every area of life. Success built on character is stable and meaningful. It does not collapse under pressure or change with circumstances. God prepares people for greater responsibility by ensuring they are strong within before they are elevated outwardly. This preparation may take time, but it is necessary. Outward success may impress people, but character earns trust and respect. God's blessings are not just about giving more. They are about making a person better. By shaping patience, integrity, humility, and compassion, God prepares individuals to carry greater responsibility with wisdom, balance, and purpose. This is why character growth always matters more than outward success. Peace that is not controlled by circumstances is one of the deepest signs of true blessing. This kind of peace does not come from having everything in order or from knowing exactly how the future will unfold. Instead, it comes from trust in God, a trust that remains steady even when answers are delayed and situations remain uncertain. Many people search for peace by trying to control their environment, their plans, or the people around them. Yet real peace cannot be found that way. It is found within, rooted in faith rather than circumstances. Life is naturally unpredictable. Plans change, doors close, and unexpected challenges appear without warning. If peace depends only on favorable conditions, it will always be fragile. One difficult moment can destroy it. True peace, however, is resilient. It stays present even in confusion. When God blesses a person, he gives them this inner calm, not by removing uncertainty, but by strengthening trust. This trust allows a person to remain grounded when everything around them feels unstable. Delayed answers often test this peace. Waiting can be uncomfortable and frustrating, especially when the outcome feels important. During these seasons, the mind becomes restless, filled with questions and worries. Yet a blessed person learns to wait without losing hope. They understand that silence does not mean abandonment and delay does not mean denial. This understanding brings calm to the heart. It allows a person to rest, even while they wait, knowing that God's timing is purposeful. Uncertain situations also reveal the depth of inner peace. When outcomes are unclear, fear often tries to take control. Fear creates anxiety and pushes people toward rushed decisions. Peace, on the other hand, allows clarity. It helps a person respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. This calm does not mean the absence of concern. It means concern is no longer in control. Trust replaces panic, and faith steadies the mind. This peace also changes how a person views challenges. Instead of seeing difficulties as threats, they begin to see them as part of a larger journey. They learn that not every problem needs an immediate solution, and not every question needs an immediate answer. This perspective reduces stress and brings balance. A person who has peace can move forward step by step without being overwhelmed by the entire journey at once. Peace that comes from God also protects the heart from comparison and pressure. In uncertain times, it is easy to look at others and feel behind or inadequate. Inner peace reminds a person that their path is unique and that growth takes time. It frees them from the need to rush or prove themselves. This freedom is a blessing because it allows authenticity and patience to grow. People around often notice this kind of peace. They may wonder how someone can remain calm in situations that would normally cause anxiety. This calm becomes a quiet testimony. It shows that strength does not always look loud or confident on the surface. Sometimes strength looks like stillness, trust, and steady hope. This peace influences relationships, creating safer and more thoughtful interactions. Over time, peace becomes a foundation for decision-making. A person who has inner peace is less likely to make choices based on fear or pressure. They are able to wait for clarity and move when the time is right. This leads to wiser decisions and fewer regrets. Peace does not remove challenges, but it ensures that challenges do not remove direction. True blessing is not proven by perfect conditions, but by a calm heart in imperfect ones. Peace that is not controlled by circumstances is a gift that sustains a person through uncertainty, waiting, and change. It reflects deep trust in God and confidence that even when the path is unclear, the journey is guided. This peace is not temporary. It grows stronger with time, anchoring the heart in hope no matter what lies ahead. Blessings are never meant to be kept to ourselves. They are meant to flow outward and impact the lives of others. When God blesses a person, the effect is never purely personal. While blessings often bring comfort, growth, or success to the individual, their true purpose is revealed when they are used to uplift, guide, and serve others. A blessing that stops at oneself is incomplete, but a blessing shared becomes multiplied, creating a ripple effect of hope, encouragement, and transformation. One of the ways God shows this is by giving each person unique abilities, opportunities, and experiences that can help those around them. These gifts are not random. They are given with intention. If someone has learned resilience through hardship, they are in a position to comfort others facing similar struggles. If someone has grown in wisdom, patience, or understanding, they can guide others who are lost or confused. When blessings are used in this way, they extend beyond personal benefit and become instruments of God's work in the lives of many. Serving others through blessings requires awareness and empathy. It is not simply about giving material things, but about sharing time, energy, knowledge, and encouragement. Every kind word, every helpful action, and every thoughtful gesture can have a profound impact. People often underestimate how much a single act of care or support can change someone's day, outlook, or even life. God blesses people not just to elevate them, but to make them a source of blessing for those who need it most. Using blessings to impact others also builds character. When we shift focus from ourselves to others, qualities like humility, compassion, patience, and generosity are strengthened. These qualities cannot flourish in isolation. By looking beyond personal gain, a person begins to reflect God's love more clearly. The act of giving, guiding, and serving teaches selflessness and reminds a person that life is bigger than individual comfort or success. Blessings meant for others can take many forms. Sometimes it is through mentorship or sharing knowledge. Other times it may be through material support, volunteering, or providing emotional encouragement. Even small acts can carry great significance. God often uses ordinary people in extraordinary ways when they are willing to let their blessings serve a higher purpose. This demonstrates that true blessing is not measured by what you keep, but by what you share. Impacting others with blessings creates a cycle of goodness. The person who receives help or encouragement is often inspired to do the same for someone else. In this way, a single blessing can touch many lives far beyond what was initially imagined. God's design ensures that blessings are never meant to be stagnant. They are meant to grow and expand, creating positive change in the world. Finally, when blessings are shared, they reflect God's love and faithfulness in a tangible way. People can see the effects of God's work, not only in personal transformation, but in the way that transformation inspires action for good. A blessed life becomes a beacon of hope, showing others that divine guidance and support are real, practical, and life-changing. This amplifies the blessing, extending it beyond the individual to communities, families, and even generations. Blessings are meant to impact others, not just yourself. When God blesses you, He positions you to uplift, guide, and serve those around you. True blessings multiply when they are shared, creating ripples of hope, compassion, and love. By using what God has entrusted to us for the benefit of others, we fulfill the deeper purpose of blessings, turning personal gifts into instruments of transformation and light in the world.